Ako nga pala si Angela Tombok and gagawa ko ng dalawang commentary videos dito sa Azure. Requirements needed. Recommended equipment is Azure free account, pero dito sa pag-login, paggawa ng Azure account, kailangan kasi ng credit card, kaya gagawa na lang ako ng two services and demonstrate two services. Pero imbis na i-demonstrate ko, gagawa na lang ako ng commentary video. So ito yung una.
Hello there, and thank you very much for joining us today in this new Azure Portal how-to video. Today, we learn about the new and improved experience for creating app services, and for that we have Byron Tardif, who is going to show us all about it.
So, i-demonstrate nila on how to create application services on the Azure portal.
So, thank you very much for joining us, Byron.
Thanks for having me, Leon. Hello, everybody. And today we're going to talk about app service and the new full screen create experience. You guys must already be familiar. This is the new Azure landing page, and you can see we have app service right here on top. If you click in, you can see all of your app service apps that you have created, and you can create a new one either clicking here on add or going to the global create. In here, you'll also find web apps immediately, and this is where we dive into the new experience. There's a couple of things that are common across all of the resources that are adapting this view. One of them is the first selection that you're going to have is the subscription and the resource group. The way that I usually explain the resource group is like a virtual folder where you put all of your resources inside, and then you can use that to share access to somebody else. So for example, if I wanted to give Leon access to my new web app that I wanted to create.
So I guess ito yung mga details on, yung basics on creating a web application.
I would do it at the resource group level. So let's call this live demo. And now we're jumping into the specifics of the web app that I am creating. I'm going to give it a name. This is going to validate that this is unique.
And dito sa mga ilalagay, dapat wala siyang space. Dapat naka-hyphen or underscore lang.
These are where some of the changes that we did to create start to come in. First of all, you're going to be able to choose whether you want to push your own code or you want to push a Docker container. A lot of people don't know that App Service supports both modes. And for this demo, let's just say that I'm going to do code. And then this is another change that we made where you're going to make an upfront selection of what runtime stack you're going to use. So what's your favorite runtime stack, Leon?
I would use .NET Core, for example.
So,
awesome.
andito yung mga list of runtime stack. May Java 11.
You can see that we have .NET Core 2.2, and at that point, we see that we supported both on Linux and Windows.
And dyan, sa operating system, hindi including dyan yung Mac OS, since yung mga Mac OS products hanggang Mac OS lang. Like, parang hindi nakiki-collaborate on other companies, parang ganun. Unlike sa Linux and Windows, mostly supported by the community.
But in this case, we recommend Windows for this particular selection. If you wanted to run something on Ruby for one of your weekend projects, for example, you would see that we support it on Linux.
So meron yung mga ibang runtime stack hindi supported ng Windows. Parang ganun. Linux lang sabi niya.
For example, if we wanted to go with PHP 7.2, you see that we supported both on Windows and Linux, and in this case, we usually recommend running it on Linux. For this demo, let's just go with .NET. And then the next thing is the location dropdown. So this is where you choose where your app is going to live. And one of the cool things that I want to show here is that we actually have now presence in Africa. App Service is a Ring 1 service. So whenever a data center is open
dito sa location, you can also see the list of locations there. Madami siyang regions.
And one of the cool things that I want to show here is that we actually have now presence in Africa. App Service is a Ring 1 service. So whenever a data center is open to the public, App Service has to be there. And this is the newest, latest region that is now available. Just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to switch over and run it on Linux. And I'm going to show you something else that's new here. For Linux instances, we didn't used to have a free offer, and now we have a perpetual free offer if you're running web apps on Linux. The way this works is you're going to be hosted on a shared environment. There's limits on the amount of memory that you can consume, the amount of bandwidth, and the amount of CPU, but it's a perfect environment for you to do like your testing out the waters, figuring out how this works, how is Linux different than Windows for hosting apps, all of that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and select my free instance, and I'm going to jump over to the next tab. This is where we have integration with Application Insights. It's not available for all stacks, but for the ones that are available, here's where you would configure it. Then we go into tags. This is a global Azure feature. I've seen people use it to tag their resources with, for example, a cost center, because these tags get populated all the way down to your bill. So if you want to know what project is costing you what money, this is a good way to do it. And finally, we jump over to Review and Create, where you're going to get a summary of what are the resources that are going to be created. In this case, you can see there's...
So, pinapakita yung mga napili mong options or choices dito sa basics. Tsaka yung dito sa video, in-skip niya yung monitoring and tags. Baka this is for advanced options kasi this is for beginner only. Pinapakita rin to yung mga details kasi just to confirm kung kailangan nang mag-create or pwede nang mag-back previous para maayos kung may mistake.
Details for the app and the app service plan. And here's also where we take a second to do the validation. So this is where we make sure that whatever input you provided is going to complete with a successful creation of your app. If I click create here, that's basically what's happening now. The app's going to deploy, and 30 seconds from now, I'm going to have a web app running in the cloud and ready to scale.
That's really cool. And this pattern that you show us is very similar. In fact, it's not...
So, yung duration, yan yung parang kung ilang oras, minutes, or seconds, or ilang days naka-on yung web application na nagawa.
Not very similar. It's the same that we use in many other places, right?
Exactly. So if we jump over here where that create is happening, you'll see that for app service resources, we have web apps, we have app service plans. They look exactly the same. If I switch over to app service environments, they look exactly the same. And even for things that are not app service specific, you can create a VM, SQL database, Azure storage. They're all using this same pattern that your team is providing.
So basically, the idea is that customers can learn a small set of patterns and then apply them across the board. So it makes it easier to accomplish this.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, because if I know how to create a web app, now I know how to create any other resource.
That's great. So thank you very much, Byron. And thanks every one of you for watching. Please try this and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment on the video, follow us on Twitter, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
So, yan na yung commentary video ko on how to create app services in the Azure portal.